Hola, yo soy Baymax. Estoy programado para evaluar la salud de todos. Todo estará bien. Ya.
Señores de Copo, bienvenidos. ¿Cómo están? Sí, estamos en el especial, en el close-up a Big Hero 6 o Grandes Héroes. Y tenemos al buen Memo. ¿Cómo estás?
¿Cómo estás, Alex? ¿Qué onda?
Tenemos a Baymax. Y tenemos, digamos, like his father. Hello.
Hello, how are you?
Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you.
Y estoy con one of my best friends, Zach. How are you, man?
Good, how are you?
Fine, and you?
I'm great.
Bueno, platícale a la gente. Tú eres ni más ni menos que Hero.
Yo hago a Hiro Hamada en esta película. Es un personaje complejo para hacer porque es un adolescente. Y bueno, ya saben que los adolescentes son complicados. Somos complicados.
Are you happy with your new movie?
I'm over the moon. I love it. You know,
Yeah.
it's interesting because I produced Tangled. That was my last film, and I was so in love with that film. I thought, oh, I'll never have another one like this. But I've fallen in love with this film, and I think it has such a great message for the world.
You made a great work with this movie.
Oh, thank you. I'm one of many people who worked on this.
Yeah,
film.
no, there's like an army to make
It
this
is
happen, right?
450 people on this
Wow.
one. Yeah, it's a lot of people.
And what did you do specifically?
So I'm the head of animation on Big Hero 6, Grandes Héroes, so I'm responsible for the animation department. We do all the character motion, so you can consider my team the actors, the stunt people, and the extras of an animated film.
Lo dice Disney en Frozen, ¿no? Las hermanas, el amor entre hermanas. Y ahora el amor entre hermanos, ¿no? Entre los amigos. Es algo muy padre que nos deja a todos pues, con eso, ¿no? Ese mensaje, esos valores.
Precisamente que los amigos son la familia que uno elige. Entonces aquí se forma una nueva familia, ¿no?
Exacto. Los grandes héroes son la familia de Hiro, ¿no?
Exacto.
Exacto.
Can you tell me about the rest of the character book? Because it's a big team.
Oh, it's a great team, and each of them are so intelligent and so bright, and they make things. You know, you've got Wasabi, who is, you know, a physics major who understands laser technology. You have Gogo, who is a great mechanical engineer, and she knows about maglev suspension. And then you have Honey, who is an amazing chemist and can make anything out of chemicals. And then you have Fred. Now, Fred is a special case. I think of him as being, you know, he studies literature. Literature in comic books. He's kind of what we call a fanboy. He loves comic books.
A nerdy, a geek.
He's a total nerd geek, yeah. And then you have Baymax and Hero. And Hero is, you know, kind of the brains behind the whole operation.
But he doesn't have a real power. Baymax is his power.
Well, they're all their powers are their brains.
Yeah.
And really, he teams with Baymax. And, you know, he's got the magnetic connection to Baymax. And he knows he's the strategist. He strategizes everything that goes on.
What's going on with this story? This was based in a manga, in a comic. It's a Marvel thing.
Well,
right?
you know, it's interesting because Don Hall, who is one of the directors, really was in love with Disney animation and Marvel Comics as a boy. And so when he was trying to figure out what his next project was after Winnie the Pooh, which he directed, he thought, let's see if I can do something with Marvel. And he went to John Lasseter, our boss, and John said, absolutely, let's go. And we went down, spoke with Marvel. Marvel was very excited. They opened up the doors to their vaults, and we were able to look at everything they've ever done. And we found this very little-known comic book called Big Hero 6, and that's how it started.
En esta onda de convertirte precisamente en la familia Marvel, digo, ¿tú conocías antes a estos personajes?
Te voy a ser sincero, nunca había leído un cómic de Big Hero, o de Grandes Héroes. Yo no sabía que era una propiedad de Marvel. Cuando veo que lo anuncian digo, pero esto es anime, o sea, ¿es de Marvel esto? Me saqué de onda, dije, ¿esto es de Marvel? Yo sabía que Capitán América, Iron Man, Thor, todos los personajes, digamos, más famosos de Marvel. Cuando vi estos personajes dije, órale, no sabía. Empecé a investigar y dije, wow, la historia está muy padre. Ojalá que quede un gran resultado. Y bueno, no les adelanto, ¿no?
Un lunático con máscara trató de liquidarnos.
¡Es sensacional! También es terrorífico, pero es sensacional.
Which is the risk? Because if you made a Marvel movie, you can choose Iron Man, Captain America, Thor, but you choose this body and the whole team. But who are they?
We needed to find something really special for animation. So one of the things that Don loved about the comic book was that it was a superhero team set in Japan.
And you mixed two cultures.
Right. Well, that's one of the things we did immediately because we knew we had to take it out of the Marvel universe and take it into the Disney animation universe. And what we do at Disney is we always make an amazing world. And Don thought, the two of my favorite cities, Tokyo and San Francisco, and mash those two together and let's see what we come up with. Just like we mashed Disney and Marvel.
San Francisco.
San Francisco, yeah. And it's great because everybody who goes and sees the film wants to go and visit San Francisco.
Yeah, no.
Déjenme decirles que con un actor súper experimentado, a pesar de que lo ven que tiene como 5 minutos en esta tierra, por favor, recuérdales todas las voces que has hecho.
Bueno, yo empecé hace 10 años, yo hice a Nemo en Buscando a Nemo, yo hice a Dash en Los Increíbles, yo hice a Simba en El Rey León 3, yo hice a Tambor en Bambi 2, yo hice a Andy en Toy Story 3, yo hice a Phineas en Phineas y Ferb, hice a Ezra en Star Wars. Bueno, ya.
Qué chafa.
Yahiro.
Tenías más.
Yahiro Hamada en Grandes Héroes. A poquitos.
Está padre, ¿no? Está padre esa.
Bueno, si me comparas con Mario Castañeda o alguien así choncho, pues bueno, son poquitos.
Mario es un anciano ya, grande el señor.
Sí.
Saludos a Mario.
Saludos, sí.
What about the research to make all the powers and the design of Baymax?
Well, there's so many different influences. The directors went to all different kinds of robotics labs, MIT and Carnegie Mellon, and then the effects team did lots of research on the individual powers and trying to make it as believable as possible. Wasabi's plasma blades are founded in reality.
I was in LA and
Right.
you told us about this technology based in robots,
Yeah.
like actually are like balloons.
Yeah, well, when we were doing the initial research for the film, because we always spend probably a year doing research before we even start writing the film, we came across a fellow by the name of Chris Atkinson, who was an instructor, a professor at Carnegie Mellon University in Pittsburgh. And he's working on something they call soft robotics. And soft robotics essentially is, a substructure that is covered by a vinyl inflatable cover. And this is specifically being used for medical robots.
Yeah.
So that when they come in contact with a patient and they actually make contact with the patient, they don't hurt him. So they're soft, and immediately we knew we had our huggable robot.
I was in LA to watch the process.
Oh, you were?
Yeah. And you told us about the face of Baymax. he just have two eyes.
That's it.
Sometimes you think about the mouth, but you take it off.
You take it off. We had it at the very beginning. We talked about maybe it could be a projected mouth. But then we really didn't feel like we needed it. We felt like we could get the emotion across with just the timing of blinks. We had blinks, and then we also had an iris that we could use for when Baymax is scanning someone or when he's doing something internal. And the blinks were more of an outward manifestation of what he's thinking.
Oye, Memo, y también justo lo que estás platicando sobre los procesos. No es como que vayas llevando un proceso lineal de la película. De repente dice, aquí tienes que estar bien contento porque pasó tal cosa, y aquí estás bien triste porque le pasó esto a Hiro. O sea, tú tienes que estar en 3-2 en el sentimiento y en...
Cañón.
¿no?
Aparte, imagínate que estás grabando la película y no tienes referencia de personaje animado. Porque muchas veces un actor se puede apoyar en, bueno, voy a hacer al personaje, pero estoy viendo su sufrimiento. Estoy viendo que está desesperado. Nada, lo estábamos escuchando, porque pues es storyboard. Y bueno, ya al final cuando la vimos, la verdad, yo cuando vi mi crédito al final, después de los créditos de los animadores, que dice Memo Aponte y sale el personaje, no sabes cómo te llena eso profesionalmente, y en mi carrera casi me pongo a llorar ahí en la sala, ¿no? Porque es algo que sí es algo súper importante para mí.
When I talked with the people of Pixar, they told me that the hair is the most difficult to make with Sogli and the other monsters.
Sure.
Which is the most difficult to make in Big Hero 6?
It's interesting because there's so many different challenges. Hero was a huge challenge on the hair side because we call it his groom. His hair was such a big component to his appeal, and we wanted it to feel like it was messy hair, but we also wanted it to feel stylized, but we didn't want it to feel like he styled it.
And the microbots or millibots?
Microbots.
Microbots. It was hard to make all the movements.
Absolutely, that took a lot of coordination because the microbots were handled by the effects department, which had I think 45 or 50 artists themselves, and they used a lot of research of real microbots that exist in the real world, because there's lots of different examples of that, and then they also looked at ants and bees in order to understand like swarm ideas and how they can all be individuals but move as one. And so there's a lot of coordination between my department, the effects department, the tech anim department who's doing his coat, because the villain is definitely a huge challenge that spans multiple departments.
You said a lot of things about research, but which percent is research or real life, and which percent it's a fiction thing?
Well, it all depends on what you're trying to achieve. Some things, it's very much research, 100% research. Some things it's no research, but I think we always want to make sure that it feels like it's believable, that it's grounded in reality.
I was in the Comic-Con of this year.
Yeah.
And there was a lot of Baymax, but in just one day, they are sold out.
Sold out. Well, it's always amazing. We never make these films for toys, but people who work for us love us because we make great characters. And when you have great characters, you can make great toys. And they're a lot of fun. But what's interesting is the soft Baymax is the one that everybody loves.
In the original comic, he's a health robot?
No. This is one of the great things about using something that's very obscure. We were able to kind of reinvent that, and in the original comic, he's very much of a warrior robot.
Yeah.
And we wanted someone a little bit more, I'll use the word again, huggable.
Yeah, it's huggable.
Yeah, everybody, it's funny, we have these great inflatable Baymaxes. Yeah, see? It's outside the theater when we screen the films, we have these big inflatable Baymaxes, and people come out and immediately they hug Baymax.
That's amazing.
¡Hay que detenerlo!
No soy veloz.
¡Sí, ya lo noté! ¡Pateala!
Reclamaciones a qué Twitter.
Me pueden seguir en @NemoAponte, ahí estoy. Me pueden seguir y pues los proyectos que vengan. Acuérdense que estoy haciendo Star Wars Rebels, ya viene una segunda temporada. Y bueno, ¿ya viste algo de la serie?
Claro, sí, los primeros capítulos.
Está bien cool la serie, la verdad no los decepcionó y creo que no va a decepcionar la segunda temporada porque viene muy muy cool.
We want to watch the second one.
Oh.
But you always think one step forward. Are you thinking about the
we're not yet. We're really just trying to make sure that we create a really good standalone film, that audiences can watch hopefully forever. Because that's what we really try to do with Disney films, is make sure that they're lasting, classic stories, and that's really been the focus on this one, on the Marvel and on the Disney side, is to make sure that this one can stand the test of time, and I think they have, and if there are sequels in the future, we'll figure that out when that comes up.
Or what about Baymax in the Avengers 2? 3.
Well, they're actually very unique. They're very unique worlds.
Yeah.
They live independently from one another.
San Francisco
it's its own world there.
Yeah.
No se vayan a ir después de los créditos. No se vayan a ir porque hay una sorpresita de Marvel. Hay algo ahí. No les quiero adelantar nada.
Por favor.
No lo vayan a
Ni
hacer.
siquiera yo la vi.
Por traer prisa.
Nos cortaron la película. Pero si alguien se las corta, digan, no, queremos ver la escena extra. Déjenlo hasta el final.
O si el de que barre la sala ya, por favor, no.
Joven, me encargo sus piecitos.
Sí. No, todavía no acaba, ¿ok? No se la pierdan.
It's an amazing movie, and congratulations, we are going to see it in the theaters.
Oh, good, I can't wait.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. It was great to meet you
for your
too.
work.
It's nice being best friends.
Thank you. Yo soy Alex Montiel, pásenla chido, nos vemos en el cine. Damas y caballeros, bienvenidos a esto que se llama Escenas de Película. Eso, sí, estoy solo y por eso necesito efectos de sonido. Así que hoy vamos a recordar algunas escenas de películas hechas aquí en San Francisco, porque me encuentro precisamente en esta gran ciudad de California. Sí, atrás de mí está el Golden Gate.